We are live. Welcome, everybody. I'm here. I'm very excited. It is. I was looking at the date, Monday. Like, what day is it today? It's Monday. Super excited here with my guest, Mr. Joseph Trujillo. We got an exciting announcement for all you guys. So, first of all, thank you all for tuning in, and we're really excited about bringing our special guest here in a few minutes. And for those of you that are also tuning in, stay alerted. We're going to be presenting a couple of more amazing people here in the next couple of days, and our intention is to bring on the superstar that's going to be sharing his story today. But without further ado, Mr. Joseph Trujillo, what's up, man? How's everything going on your side of town?
Everything's going fantastic, my brother. Thanks for putting this together, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Appreciate you as
Yeah,
well.
excited to make this announcement. New leader joining our organization, phenomenal leader. So just adding all these great leaders to our local organization here in Southern California and across the nation has been a blessing amongst blessings, right?
Yep, absolutely. And if you could just share, man, just so we could, we're going to build up the audience a little bit. If you could just share a little bit of your experience so far. I mean, what's been just give everybody an update of what's been happening in your world, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, it's been obviously we're going through these challenging times with COVID, and that being said, we've all had to find a way to pivot, right? Pivot and try to find positive momentum in what we have going on and build for the future here. So that's what we've been doing these last few weeks. Is we haven't skipped a beat. We actually press forward, hit the gas pedal, and continue to transact, help a lot of families, keep in touch, just over communicate with everybody that we've been in touch with, and just provide just crazy value to agents, connecting with agents from almost essentially every franchise, independent companies, showing them a different way of doing business. And this model has just provided a platform and a foundation for them to thrive. So we're excited. We're crazy excited to have these doors completely open and to be able to go out there and service our community.
Yep. Absolutely, man. Well, thank you for sharing, my brother. Well, if you want to talk a little bit about our guest that's going to be coming up, and I'll be putting him on the screen here in a couple of seconds. But if you want to tee it up, bro, that'll be amazing.
Yeah, this guy really doesn't need an introduction. I mean, once everybody sees him, they're going to know who this fantastic leader is. But I'll tell you a little bit about him. He's a well-renowned real estate coach. Okay, he's been a team leader and a leader at many different organizations here in the Southern California area. Again, he will need no introduction. He has coached and led, mentored, I think something crazy like over 500, maybe 1,000 agents in his career. And he's overseen thousands, not a few, but thousands of transactions in his leadership role. A lot of people will identify him. He is a social media expert. He commonly goes live on Facebook and just provides crazy golden nuggets to agents and his audience. So this guy has a resume, bro. I can go on and on and on again. I would like to just go ahead and announce him so we can bring him live on deck.
All right, 3, 2, 1, boom. Mr. Felix.
What's up, guys?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man? How's everything?
It's good. Just on recruiting appointments and really building new content for new training right now.
That's awesome, brother. You just coming in and making all this noise, bro. That's just the way you do things, huh?
I think that right now the first wave are people definitely that trust me, or they honestly were introduced to eXp. Maybe they were on the fence, but since joining, they're close to me, so they're joining underneath my organization. So a lot of really cool, exciting things are happening this week. I've got 2 or 3 more phone calls tonight after we end here. So good things happening.
Very cool, brother. Very cool. Thank you so much for being on. And for those of that are tuning in and listening, give everybody a little bit of your background, bro, so they can get a little more related to who you are.
Oh man, I'm a recovering workaholic. So my girlfriend definitely doesn't like me working that much, and I'm trying to reduce my work hours. But this is my 17th year in the business, and I calculated how many hours I put into this business. I put in over 60,000 hours into this industry in the last 16 years. I was a workaholic. I was working 70, 80 hours a week for the first 4, 6 years, grinding it out. And for that, I started my career in 2004 in Virginia. I was born and raised in the DC metro area. And I went from 16 transactions my first year to my 8th year closing 66 transactions. That was 58 buy and sell sides and then 8 leases.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't know what I was doing. That was just working my butt off. And then I moved to California 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I got my butt handed to me.
Yeah.
I moved here.
Like most of us, yeah.
Yeah. So I moved here in 2009. I got licensed here in 2010. I was managing a team of BPO agents across the country. I was teaching them how to do valuations. And then in 2010, I said, I just got to get my license and just start doing transactions. And I thought I was just going to come in here and wreck Orange County, and Southern California wrecked me. I did 3 transactions my first year here.
Wow.
And then I think my second year I did 19, and then I sort of got the flow of things. But I just got crushed the first year, and I had to go back and re-examine everything I did. And really, it made me a stronger trainer. It made me a better agent. And I figured out that I really didn't know anything about prospecting.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people think it's a humbling experience, and especially it's a different market altogether, bro. And during that time, I mean, you went from the 3 to the 19, and then what was? I know you had a leadership position, so did that happen right after that, or how long ago was your leadership position that you had?
It was actually after that. So when I did 19 transactions, I was actually working for a bankruptcy attorney and I was liquidating their short sales for them. Mm-hmm. So I got some of those deals from the bankruptcy attorney, and I was generating short sales myself, and I was negotiating, closing those. And then I got recruited off of LinkedIn to the #1 company in Orange County. We don't need to mention their name. Mm-hmm. And I was groomed to be a branch manager. So I was a branch manager for them. I was there about a little over a year and a half. And then I decided to resign. And then I went to, at the time, it was the #2 company in Orange County. And at that brand, I was there for a year. And I think that's when people started getting to know me. I recruited, it was around 120 people into my office that year. So that's what I got known for. They kept wondering, who's this guy on these MTA reports, right? So I didn't know what an MTA. Do you guys know what an MTA report is?
I actually don't. No.
Okay, so I'll tell you, because I was a branch manager. So first month I recruited 7 people. I started getting some buzz around Huntington Beach, and then some title reps told me, "Oh, an MTA report is basically a report that tells us who's coming into your office in the Huntington Beach office and who's leaving your office, right?" And so they just kept seeing my name in my office over and over again, and they're like, "Who's this kid? Who's this new manager in this office?" And so I think the second month I recruited 12 people, and then it was just I worked my butt off for 3 months, and I think I added over 30 people in 3 months, and just no one could outpace me after that.
Wow.
So that's what I'm known for. I'm also known for generating over 50 million in referral business from my personal Facebook page. I'll be honest, not all of it closed. We probably closed about 15 to 20 million of it, but I generated it coming in.
Right. That's tremendous, brother. That's amazing.
Yeah, and that was one thing that I absolutely love about Felix is, like, bro, your social media is on point. You're definitely an influencer. How do you connect with people, like, through that distance with distancing, bro? Like, through social media, it seems like you don't skip a beat with connecting with people. What do you attribute that to?
You got to be yourself. You got to be really, I think the words are really overused, but you've got to be genuine and authentic. But when I say that in training, a lot of people still want to sell. They still want some kind of pitch. I just don't pitch. You just need to really be genuine as a person. And it goes back to really sales 101, except for the fact that you don't close, right? So sales 101 is the like trust thing. You got to get people to like you. And I don't think enough people in sales in our industry spend enough time on the sales on the rapport building like aspect. So slow your roll and get people to like you first.
Yep. That's a massive nugget, bro. That's massive. I think a lot of people, if they were focused more on that, they would have a much bigger business in today's market. And I think they have it flipped upside down, right? They want to just close and like, nobody who wants to be sold. Like we know damn well when we go into like a to a dealership and we go to anywhere, we do not want to be sold. We want to take a look at things. We want to. And then that person that starts to take the time, like, hey, you know what? Here's a couple of options. Let me know whenever you need something. You remember that person.
Big time. Yeah. The other day, I heard Felix say, I think somebody had asked him one of his questions on one of his lives, and they had asked him, like, I don't know, I think it was like, what's the best script for listings? And you're like, throw away the scripts. Like, don't do scripts. Like, connect with people. Like, come from a genuine place, and you may get more business. And I thought that was incredibly valuable, brother. So he's dropping that kind of heat every time he goes live. So if you guys aren't following Felix on like Facebook or social media, make sure you guys do that today. I learned something every single time I tune into him.
Yeah, absolutely. And after your leadership position, probably just pivot back to that, because you're known as the Felix the coach, right? You're the coach. So you started to really brand yourself as a coach. Was it after this the whole recruiting phase that you went through, or when did this happen?
It was with my last company. So in 2018, I started a team, and we took that team up to. I didn't track numbers, so I apologize. So I'm gonna get flamed by a lot of top producers, but based upon my 1099, I know we did 25 to 30 million. So I took that team from 0 to 25 to 30 mil in 2018. If you check the MLS, it says I did 1.5 million because I let all of the agents close all the deals in their name. So you would have to look under all of my team members' names to get that volume accurate. But at that point, I was training a lot. I was coaching, and so I was running my team. I was selling through my team, and I was coaching. So then I started branding myself with that hashtag Felix the Coach. And I learned that from another eXp agent, my friend Kenny Trong up in Oakland. So he and I became friends after I saw him train at an ARIA national event. I took part of his presentation. I made a class out of it. I said, wow, I don't even think you realize that you teach hashtag branding. I'm going to take that and I'm just going to flow with it. So I started Felix the Coach from that. And now it's sort of transitioned back to Felix the Agent as I'm getting back into sales also.
Very cool, bro. Yeah, I was just curious to know your story about that, man.
Yeah.
And it's a play on Felix the Cat, right? So DJ Felix the Cat, and then of course a cartoon, and so it's a play off Felix the Cat.
Yeah, I like it. No, it has a ring to it, and it sticks with you. It sticks with you, like Felix the Coach. It's simple.
Yeah.
So,
hey, quick question for you, Felix. Do you think, since you made your announcement, I know you did it actually officially last Friday, how has the response been for you and joining eXp?
It's been really interesting, been really positive. I'm used to getting a lot of hate, so I'm probably going to get some hate, and that's fine too. But I've actually noticed no hate so far. I'm prepared for the heat, but I've noticed nothing but love, which is amazing. Because I was a trainer and I was a coach, I made a decision to sort of. This decision was probably made 3 or 4 weeks ago, but I made a decision to sort of just let things sort of cool down because I was training in other brokerages and I didn't want to affect their offices by recruiting their people the wrong way. So I made a decision to sort of delay the decision to quiet it down because it was only a couple months ago, 2, 3, 4 months ago, that I was actively training in a lot of brokerages.
Got it. No, thank you for sharing that, bro. And I'm pretty sure that you're a smart dude, bro. I'm pretty sure you really thought this through. I mean, and I think that would be a really good thing to share about, because there's a lot of people out there that have considered eXp, that have been thinking about eXp. But what was your thought process and how you came up to the conclusion of saying, eXp is going to be the home that I'm going to choose? Like, how did you come up with this decision?
So I guess I'll give you the candid version. So the candid version is I was introduced to eXp at the end of 2017. And when I was introduced at the end of 2017, I had no interest in eXp. At that time, the company was on fire recruiting wise, but there wasn't even recruiting training at that time. There was no guidelines out there. It was like the wild, wild west of eXp. And so in my personal opinion, I think a lot of eXp agents were recruiting wrong, and they were chasing people. I've never chased an agent to join my team, my office, ever. And even at first team, oops, even at my office in Huntington Beach,
right?
When I recruited over 100 agents, 120 agents that year, I would not let them sign on the dotted line that same day. So I would say, hey, Joe, so you're interested in joining the office. Great. So sleep on it. If you still want to join the office tomorrow, come back and we'll sign the independent contractor agreement. So I never closed anyone to sign that day, because I said, look, if I got to close you to be here, I got to close you to stay. So I don't want to do that. So I think that 2 years ago, there was a lot of agents out there that were recruiting the wrong way. And I really said, you know what, though? I see the potential in this company. 2 to 5 years from now, it's going to be a phenomenal company. I said, but it's got to go through the growing pains of those people recruiting wrong to up their game, maybe for them to leave the company, maybe for them to develop a better recruiting strategy. But I see a lot of potential in this company 2 to 5 years from now. So it's funny that we're now 2.5 years later, and I'm joining at this point. But I think right now, if people are on the fence and wanting to join eXp, I think it's the perfect time, not only because of shelter in place, but because I don't know that a lot of brokerages handle the shelter in place right. And I would honestly say, if I was candid, I think that most did nothing to support their agents, and most did nothing to help their agents make money. And that really inspired me to get back into an active leadership role, not just as a coach in the industry, but to, we've got this hub that's going, and we're in the process of making this an official branch. That'll take probably 2 or 3 months because of DRE. But I wanted to be back active in that type of role to really have a captive audience that I inspire on a weekly basis. But I can see the writing on the wall. This model that eXp has with revenue sharing, I think, is going to break open in the next 2 or 3 years, and I would love to ride that with you guys. And Anthony and I will do another Facebook Live, and I won't take some of that thunder, but I think that eXp definitely has come a long way, and the growing pains of the last 2 years are behind us as a company. I think the recruiting is a lot more top notch. I never felt pressured and never felt pressured to move forward when I met you guys. It was definitely a different vibe, and I appreciated that.
Thank you.
So I think that all of those things, plus the current marketplace, I noticed that 6-7 weeks ago, when California was on lockdown, a lot of the brokerage were struggling on how to handle the shelter in place.
Right.
And eXp just kept on going without a hitch. And that really was impressive. And I'll tell you this, I think that for those who are watching live or on replay, the lockdown, the shelter in place has made 3 things now a priority. Number 1 is social media. Number 2 is digital marketing. And number 3 is virtual selling. And so if you don't have a plan for those 3, you're not going to make it. I think that if shelter in place didn't happen, we would still have 1 to 3 years to adjust.
Yeah, you're right. Because I think that this whole thing nobody expected it was going to be a virus to do this whole thing, but this thing just sped up the process, hands down. So I agree with what you're saying. I think a lot of people are starting to think for the first time than ever. And I think that people just didn't have time to think. We're just so busy. We're so busy doing. And that's why a lot of people just don't have the time to think. But now it's like, oh yeah, let me ask the higher questions, like, what am I actually doing with my time? Where am I doing it? And how am I going to show up in the next 5 to 10 years? That's big, bro. That's really big. Thank you for sharing that. And it's an honor to be in business with you, man. Right away when I met you and Anthony, man, you guys are stars, man. You guys are powerful peeps. And I know Joseph made the introduction here and everything, and just right away, it was a different type of conversation. And I think that for everybody listening out there, that we're all about relationships. This is what it really is all about. It really is about relationships and just being a good human. It's not really that complicated. right? Of being a good human and talk to people and get in their world and see what they're about. And, it creates opportunities like this. And I think that for what you guys are creating in Pasadena, man, I'm just so excited about that because I think it's a real need, especially in that area. It's a real need that they need this type of leadership. So
we're not just expanding in Pasadena. We're looking to expand all over Southern California, Orange County, Inland Empire. We're looking for leaders across the nation. I mean, as I've trained around the United States, what I've noticed is there's tiers in training and quality of training. And in LA and in the Bay Area and New York, that's a tier 1 market for training. Most of the major cities are actually tier 2. So if we have expansion teams in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, we can bring them some magical training that they're not used to. I'll give you an example. I do a lot of training out of Fresno. And Fresno is 300,000 people, great town. I think when you look at Fresno, my training works like it's magic because there's not a whole bunch of coaches coming through Fresno, right? So the big coaches are not rolling through Fresno. So, and I'm not here to judge the training, but I would say that what I've given as far as tips just works like wildfire up there. It's a different because I think we have more competitive markets down here, LA, Orange County, and IE.
Hands down, absolutely. You're right. Continue to keep. I was just agreeing with you, bro. It's like here, it's the market is different. It's just different here. Now you stepped into it from a different marketplace, and you noticed the. I mean, I was talking to somebody in Canada, and I think Canada, the big thing out there is just I think it's Mike Ferry, and that's it. We have there is a couple of other ones, but I think that the type we're inundated with a bunch of people here in this area, a ton.
Right, and so if the office or the company is offering training, it better match the other training that is going on in Southern California, and I believe that mine is top notch. I prided myself when I was a branch manager on launching new agents and really reviving careers. That's really what I enjoyed the most. I could, of course, take a $10 million producer, make them a $20 million producer, but I enjoyed the most taking a brand new agent and getting them up to 5 and 10 million. That was the most enjoyable part of my business.
Right. Well, you're going to thrive in this model, bro. I mean, for sure. I mean, I don't know if I've heard the statistic that said that about 50% of all the transactions are going to be done by people that don't even hold a real estate license yet. Bunch of new people that are going to be coming in the business, so we're literally leading the new movement of realtors. Like if you really look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, that's an interesting stat. I haven't heard about that, but if I had to guess, I think that stat is because I think we're going to have a lot of people, unfortunately, as casualties of this business that don't choose to embrace technology. So then we're going to have 18 to 25-year-olds that will embrace technology that will take the business away from them.
Yep.
So I hope people are really thinking about that statistic and really whatever you want to call it, changing, pivoting, shifting into technology or being with a tech company that helps you to walk into technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's going to be definitely huge. With you being such an influential person in the real estate, Felix, I know I personally want to hear this from you, and I think a lot of people would be interested in hearing your perspective on maybe a little real estate forecasting coming out of this, like, what the temperament on the market is. I mean, nobody's genie in a bottle, but we'd love to hear your perspective on it. I know a lot of people would too.
So my outlook on the market is that I'll tell you my best case and my worst case scenario. So right now, pendings are up. Pendings have been up for 2 to 3 weeks now. Week after week, pendings are going up. And so I believe that the real estate market will be a V recovery, and the overall economy will be a U recovery that will take probably 3 to 5 years. Because of COVID, because of everything going on, I believe that a lot of buyers are going to be knocked out of being able to buy because whether they're in some kind of workout program, whether they lost their job and they're recovering from that, it's sort of like it's like a subsidized bankruptcy people are going through right now with all of the unemployment income going out right now. So unless lenders change their guidelines, we're going to have probably 10 or 20% less buyers in the marketplace. But I don't think that that's necessarily going to affect the prices. So I believe that if there's 20% less buyers, we still could have multiple offers in some major metro areas because of pent-up demand and not enough good inventory. So from that perspective, I think, personally speaking, if I'm talking about my personal opinion, I think we're going to have a flat market, or best case is plus 2 or 3%. Worst case is minus 2 or 3%. Now, I've seen some forecasts that say that prices could go down 10, 20, 30%. I really don't see it yet. Now, could that be possible? Sure. But yeah. I just don't see in the stats as possible. That it would have to take an even dire turn. I mean, look at how devastating our economy has been hit so far. And yet the economists, those are the true experts, not even us in the industry. I think that the economists are the true experts. And what they're saying is the worst I've heard is minus 8-9%, high single digit reduction in prices, or a slight increase of 2 or 3%. But I don't think that those are going to really bother anyone looking for their dream home or their long-term home. Now, it doesn't mean that everyone should buy right now, and it doesn't mean everyone should sell right now. So dialogue needs to go up in the real estate community. And I hate the realtor, the NAR message of it's always a great time to buy. I don't think that is right. It depends on your situation, and now that is there's a magnifying glass on that. There's some people that should buy right now. There's also some people that should sell right now, but it shouldn't be a blanket statement across the board.
Right. You're totally right about that, because I tell people all the time, I'm like, what are you paying for rent? Can you become a homeowner and pay the same or less? If you're going to over leverage yourself, it's not the time to do it. It definitely is not. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense, brother. And I guess one of the last things I want to ask you, you mentioned that you're doing some training, right? I'm pretty sure that a lot of realtors are out there thinking about training, and they're going to want some top-notch training. So can you just elaborate or share a little bit about what you're working on?
I got into management because in coaching because I thought that most companies just don't do an adequate job of training. Mm-hmm. And it starts from a new agent perspective. I've been with some great companies that have some great new agent training, but what I think management didn't realize at those companies was after 2 weeks of training, those brand new agents are overwhelmed and they can't fit anything else in their head.
Right.
So the training structure really needs to be longer with less information on a daily and weekly basis. So that's what I pride myself on. We pound the basics like no other for about a year. I don't even train listing presentation for a good 6 to 12 months for my coaching clients, or even when I was a branch manager, because I just felt like you weren't going to probably use it that often. I mean, if you're not going to use it, where are you making most of your money? If you're making most of your money from a buyer consultation, sure, let's practice that. But for one opportunity a year, we're going to practice the listing presentation 5 hours a week for what? For what?
Yeah.
Because the industry says you should be a listing agent? No. You probably just messed up 5 buyer consultations that you could close 3 or 4 on because you focus on the wrong thing. So the training I'm doing right now is the key piece is a 365-day plan for agents. So I'm literally going to tell them what to do every single day for the first year of real estate. So that is in the works. It probably is a couple months away. I'm pivoting and shifting my training just like the market is. So we're doing a lot of social media. We're doing a lot of training on Zoom and how to use Zoom for different variations. We're really trying to build stronger systems that are virtual. And then also when things turn back more normal, we'll have more of the traditional things come back in. But things have to sort of operate if we have a secondary flare-up that may happen. So I'm thinking long-term, and I'm thinking about how best someone can launch even if we continue to be shelter in place.
Yep. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that, bro. I'm excited about that. So, Mr. Joe, any last questions that you have for Felix here before we conclude our live today?
Well, I'm lucky, bro. I can text or call this man and pick his brain apart, and I'm gonna definitely do that. I'm just humbled, brother, and honored to be able to be in business with you. aligning with great leaders like yourself is what I think separates this company from others. Is that we're not all here to piss on each other, so to speak. We're here to grow and provide massive value to not only our agents but our clientele as well. So
I'd like to speak on that too, real quick.
Please.
So as coming from the number one, number two companies in Orange County, they both have attorneys on staff, and they have legal departments in house. And the first thing I asked you guys was, well, so how's the compliance? How are the brokers of record for California? That's a big important issue for me, because as a branch manager, I understand compliance, I understand the DRE and how they operate, and that was a concern for me. But I'll tell you, it was a complete opposite. It was amazing. It was some of the best support that you could think about. So that was definitely a misconception I think a lot of people have, including myself. I had that misconception also. And then the other thing that Joe just mentioned was because of the structure, because we are in a network marketing type structure, we are all here to pull and help each other. And that's very different from other brokerages. So I've never been at a brokerage where I can say, you know what, Joe, I'm in partnership with you, and I want you to build exactly what I built faster. I've never, ever been able to say that in any other structure, any other company. And so that's really what got me excited, because if I look back at my team and what happened when we dissembled, I think half of them would have stayed if I was in the eXp structure. And even though they may have broken off and become individual agents, they would have still been in my downline. So if I look back, they still would have plugged into my training if there was no strings attached, and they still maybe would have gone their own and done their own thing. But in other brokerages, what happens is you start building a team up, you help them make six figures, and then they just go on their way. Their wings are hardened and they go fly, but you get no benefit out of it. So I hope to make a massive team, because that means I help hundreds and hundreds of agents take care of their families. But then I want them to have the option to recreate everything that we're doing here if they choose to.
Exactly. It's a paradigm shift, bro. I mean, we literally flip the model upside down, because that's exactly what I tell people all the time. Like, look, you're not coming over here to work for me. Like, you're putting us to work. How can we help you? How can we? And then you're not just saying that, because I think that's one thing about companies that you join typically. Unfortunately, their model is they're getting paid a certain base, a certain salary, and they're getting paid regardless if they do their job greatly or not. And here, it's completely value driven, right? It's completely value driven. If we pour into our people, we pour into the systems and training and coaching, they do better, then we all do better. But if we're not all doing good, then it's the same thing. So that's why I love this model. And man, I can only imagine, what we're going to be creating here. I'm really excited to partner with you, brother. Again, I told you that from day one. In any way that I could be of service, Joe, I mean, all of us, bro, we're honored to have you, bro. And I'm excited to see your growth, man. Thank you so much for being on today. Truly appreciate it. I know you got other things you got to do today, man, but thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah. I gotta sign a couple more people up for our team tonight. So,
yeah, bro, get to work.
Yeah.
Come on now. Yeah, cool. Any last thought, right?
Yeah, I was gonna tell, man. Anything you want? Any golden nuggets you want to drop on us, Felix, before we end this, brother?
I'll say one more thing to the people watching here right now, which is there's a lot of fear and anxiety in what's happening with the current events, and a lot of people are choosing to sit on the bench and not do business. But let me help people have some more courage to do some business for whoever is watching. I normally walk people through these questions, and then they get encouraged that business is possible. First thing I ask them, if they're not doing business and they want to, is, are there transactions happening in your city? So Leo, I think you're in Downey. Are there transactions happening in Downey right now this week?
Absolutely, bro. I do every week.
Every week you do a market update, so you know.
$1 billion sold last week in our 4 counties. $1 billion.
$1 billion sold. So Joe, are there properties being bought and sold in Claremont?
1000%, brother. More today than yesterday, and it's going to continue to be like that.
Yeah, and I think so because pendings are up. So that's the first thing. The first thing you want to ask yourself is, from a non-emotional point of view, are transactions happening in your city? And it's yes across the country. And then number two question is do you feel like it's possible that you could stumble upon a family friend or a stranger that would want to buy or sell right now? Is it possible you could just trip over someone that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate right now? Yeah. And then number three is important though. Number three is really about your belief in the marketplace. Number three is, do you believe that some buyers should buy in this market? And the answer truly is yes, if you really think about it. And do you believe some sellers should sell right now? And the answer is yes, but it's situational. It's not everybody. But if you believe that also, if you said yes, yes, and yes, you should feel more motivated and feel more comfortable being out there in the marketplace. I know it's a sensitive time, but you can have a great attitude about your business, a positive mindset, but yet still be understanding when people want to be safe and they're worried about their health and safety. You can do both.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Love it. Brother. Well, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. That was a lot of value for our listeners. I truly appreciate that. And we'll conclude our live for today. We got a couple more coming up, and stay tuned for the Pasadena hub coming up. I mean, and they got a couple of other locations popping up. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, Joe. And we'll see each other around. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, bro. You guys have a great day.
You too. Peace.